Cleveland Dam. It's 300 feet high. This is the Capilano Canyon. This is the viewpoint. This was once a very productive canyon and river for salmon, and when they built the dam in 1954, it blocked the salmon, most of the spawning channels. So they had to build this big fish hatchery, as you can see in the distance. There's the rearing pen for the various ages of fish, and that sustains the commercial fishery and sport fishery that was taken away when they built the dam. Now we're walking up toward the dam, and we'll be walking through an area of very large trees. Some of them were recently blown down, 300-year-old trees. There's one in the distance that was blown down in a very large windstorm we had in the Vancouver area a few years ago. Here you can see closer the tree that fell a few years ago. Right next to it is a 300-foot tree, way up into the clouds. Most of the very large trees in this grove are Douglas firs, but not all. There's western red cedar, grand fir, and Sitka spruce. They all grow to enormous heights in this rainforest. This one's called the Tree of Life. It's about a 600-year-old Douglas fir. It even at one time someone hit it with an axe. Look at the size of this log. Probably fell hundreds of years ago, and provides habitat for many different kinds of forest species. Now here we're back on the main trail, which leads up to the dam. It's only a 15-minute walk. Goes through logged forest. Probably was all logged when they built the dam in 1954, so that heavy equipment could come up. All the trails going up to the dam are very, very steep, because you're going up 300 feet or 100 meters in a few hundred yards. Big raven in the distance. There he is. Looking for bugs. Now we're almost up on the dam. You can see it in the background there. Behind it is a reservoir for drinking water. Here's the dam. It's very popular with hikers, dog walkers, and people who like riding bicycles. It's nice and flat across the top, and there's lots of nice views. You can see the Grouse Mountain Sky Ride in the distance there. And you can see the whole length of the bridge there. Here's the Capilano Lake, which is the reservoir behind the dam. There's the Lions, the mountain that towers over Vancouver. It's usually covered in snow. And right over there, look right up there, is Grouse Mountain and the Grouse Mountain Sky Ride. If you look closely, you can see the Sky Ride. Usually they're going up or coming down. Here I've walked across the dam, and there's another view of the Lions in the distance. This is a popular picnicking area with public washrooms and ample grounds to have a picnic. And from here you're on the other side of the dam, and you can walk back down to the fish hatchery on the other side of the river. Here I'm walking down the other side of the dam, and you can see that it's quite steep. Here's the canyon from the other side, and we're at the base of the dam looking up at the spillway and the automatic spillway gate, which opens up very quickly and can let out an enormous amount of water on a moment's notice. People have been killed down in the canyon before they had this this automatic gate, which is now a horn goes off to warn everyone that the level of the water is going up enormously. People are always fishing lower down, and it warns them to get to higher ground. About 15 years ago, they upgraded and joined this dam with another one via underground tunnels, and they put in a lot of infrastructure that pumps the water from one reservoir to the other when one reservoir is getting lower. The other reservoir, it's called the Seymour Reservoir, is much bigger. I think it's about 10 times bigger than this reservoir. So it keeps them equalized. This trail is much like the one on the other side, only when you go down to the hatchery, it gets very steep, so they've had to put in a lot of stairs. But you walk through some really interesting big trees on that side too. This park, Capilano Regional Park, is very fortunate in that it's still got quite a few of the original monstrous trees that lived in the Vancouver area before settlement, before the logging. The reason that most of the trees are still standing in this park is because it's so steep, and it was so hard to get the trees out, and also because of a story about an American lumber company that had got the rights to this valley, this canyon, around 1910, and they were logging and shipping the trees out without permission, without being processed. So the government found out about it and took away their license to log, and it probably went into some kind of reserve. The government took it over, and the trees were never logged. But it's Vancouver's luck, because this is the best place to see large trees, and it's within half an hour of Vancouver's downtown area. So there's some magnificent trees in here. Some of them are 300 feet or 100 meters. And unlike Stanley Park, where so many of the big trees have been lost due to fires, tree diseases, and overzealous city, which is paranoid about trees falling on people. So they've cut the tops off every tree in Stanley Park that's over 150 feet. So there's no trees in Stanley Park over 220 feet. And now I hear Stanley Park's, they're going to cut down all the spruce, or hemlock and spruce, I think. Here's a nice example of a 300-year-old Douglas fir. Probably 200 feet at least. And now this trail is getting very steep with the stairs. You have to be very careful. Fortunately, the light is good. Coming here at night would be quite treacherous without a flashlight. Here we're on the other side, and you can see the thick temperate rainforest, and you can see all these big trees. There's another big 300-year-old Douglas fir. We're up above the fish hatchery on the other side. This is overlooking the parking lot and the turnaround area. And right down at the end, when you get into the parking lot, is the biggest of all the trees. It's a freestanding Douglas fir, and it is, I've triangulated it, it's 300 feet tall. And I've estimated its age to be 400 or 500 years old. I'll show it when we get down to the parking lot. Now we're back in the parking lot. And I'll just get to a good spot where I can look at the big tree. Here's the 300-foot tree. It's the biggest and most easily accessible tree in Greater Vancouver. Biggest and largest Douglas fir. The other really big ones are either in the canyon or in remote areas that haven't been logged. I've triangulated this tree and it's about 300 feet.